The people keeping this ship running are not all military. A hybrid crew of civilian mariners and Navy operators share a vessel built to stay at sea for months, sustaining around 250 people on nothing but what the ship carries or produces from the ocean. This is the Expeditionary Sea Base, not a warship, but a floating installation where every meal, every bunk, and every shower is part of a logistical challenge most never see. Aboard an Expeditionary Sea Base, the population is anything but static. The ship's core is a hybrid crew, civilian mariners from Military Sealift Command and active-duty Navy personnel working side by side. Official figures show about 44 civilian mariners handle the ship's navigation, engineering, and essential systems. These CIVMRs keep the engines running, manage fuel, and oversee the cranes and cargo operations that define the ESB's role as a floating support hub. Alongside them, around 100 Navy sailors are responsible for mission operations, running the aviation deck, managing ordnance, and providing security and communications. This arrangement is not just a matter of convenience. The hybrid model blends commercial shipping expertise with military discipline, allowing the ESB to function for months at sea with minimal outside support. But the real challenge comes from the ship's capacity to take on additional personnel. The ESB can berth up to 250 mission specialists, embark detachments for aviation, mine countermeasures, special operations, or humanitarian teams. That means at full load the population can swell to nearly 400 or more, depending on the mission. The forward house, a superstructure at the front of the ship, is where most of the Navy crew and mission teams live and work. Here, berthing spaces, command centers, and support facilities are packed into a footprint designed for flexibility. The civilian mariners, meanwhile, have their own quarters aft near the engineering spaces. This physical separation reflects the division of labor, but daily routines bring everyone together in shared mess halls, passageways, and workspaces. The numbers matter. Every bunk, every meal, every shower must be scaled to serve a population that can double or triple in a matter of days. The ship's habitability systems, the air conditioning, water production, sanitation, and food service are built to flex with the mission. On paper, it is a floating installation, not a warship, a self-contained town designed to support whatever the Navy needs, wherever it needs it. The CIVMAR leader, often a veteran mariner with decades at sea, becomes the anchor for this complex operation, ensuring that the ship can sustain its crew through long deployments, shifting missions, and the constant churn of life far from shore. Feeding a shipboard community that can approach 400 people is a continuous operation. The galley on an expeditionary sea base never really shuts down. At the heart of this system is the ship's culinary chief, a specialist who balances Navy standards, unpredictable head counts, and the realities of life at sea. Every day, the galley staff prepares meals for core crew, embarked detachments, and anyone else who calls the ESB home for a time. The schedule is relentless. Breakfast before dawn, lunch at midday, dinner in the evening, and midnight rations for those on late watch or aviation duty. Menus follow a Navy-wide cycle, with staples like eggs, rice, and chicken forming the backbone of most meals. Fresh produce and dairy appear early in the deployment, but as days at sea stretch on, the kitchen relies more on frozen and canned goods. The galley's cold storage and dry stores are sized for endurance, but even with careful planning, the ship depends on regular replenishment from supply ships. Underway replenishment, where food, mail, and other necessities are transferred ship to ship, while both are moving, becomes a lifeline. A single replenishment can bring several tons of food, from pallets of vegetables to crates of frozen meat, all hoisted aboard by crane and stowed in walk-in refrigerators and storerooms below decks. During surges, when mission teams arrive, the galley must scale up quickly. That can mean hundreds more meals per day, served in shifts to keep lines moving. The culinary chief coordinates with the supply officer and mission planners to anticipate these spikes, ensuring no one goes hungry. It is a rhythm built on logistics, not luxury. Every tray served is another link in the chain that lets the ESB remain on station far from any grocery store or port. In this floating outpost, the ability to feed hundreds day after day is as vital as any weapon or sensor on board. Sleep on an expeditionary sea base is a matter of design, discipline, and endurance. The ship's layout reflects its dual nature, part commercial vessel, part military outpost. In the forward house, berthing spaces stretch along narrow passageways, each compartment lined with stacked racks, metal bunks built for function, not comfort. Navy sailors and embarked mission teams share these spaces, sometimes 6 or more to a room, each person assigned a single rack, a small locker, and a privacy curtain. There are no private cabins for junior crew. Senior officers and some department heads may rate small staterooms, but for most, rest is communal, and personal space is measured in inches. The civilian mariners, by contrast, live aft, closer to the ship's engineering heart. Their berthing areas are modeled after commercial standards, offering a bit more space and, in some cases, 2-person cabins. But even here, the focus is on practicality. Efficient use of every square foot, durable fixtures, and easy access to workspaces. The separation between Navy and civilian mariner quarters is both a nod to tradition and a matter of operational necessity. Each group keeps its own routines, but the rhythms of the ship, watch rotations, meal hours, and maintenance cycles bind everyone to a common clock. Habitability is tested most during surge periods, when the embarked population swells. With up to 250 extra mission specialists aboard, every rack is filled, and the ship's endurance is measured not just in miles or fuel, but in the ability of its systems to support human needs. Sleep comes in shifts. Noise from machinery, flight operations, and round-the-clock maintenance is a constant presence. Blackout curtains and earplugs become essential, and discipline keeps the chaos at bay. Yet the expeditionary sea base design is built for this kind of endurance. The ship can remain at sea for thousands of miles without resupply, its berthing and habitability systems flexing to support extended deployments. For the crew, the real achievement isn't luxury, it's the ability to rest, recover, and return to duty day after day, in a space where privacy is rare and every bunk matters. Fresh water is the backbone of life on an expeditionary sea base, but the supply chain starts and ends within the hull. Every drop used for drinking, cooking, showers, and cleaning is produced at sea, drawn from the ocean, and purified through onboard desalination. These ships rely on reverse osmosis plants, a technology that forces seawater through fine membranes to strip away salt and contaminants. The result is clean, disinfected water, safe for everything from brewing coffee to scrubbing down after a shift on the flight deck. There is no published figure for how many gallons the Expeditionary Sea Base can produce in a day, but the system is sized for hundreds of people. Even so, water discipline is a fact of life. Showers are kept short and laundry is rationed, especially when the head count surges. On a ship that can potentially support nearly 500 people during peak operations, every extra body puts pressure on the system. Sanitation follows the same logic. Wastewater from sinks, showers, and toilets flows into treatment plants deep in the engineering spaces. These systems use a mix of biological processing and filtration, breaking down organic waste and disinfecting it before discharge. Regulations are strict. Nothing leaves the ship untreated, and every system is built for reliability. When embarked teams rotate in, such as aviation detachments, mine countermeasures crews, and special operations units, the demand on water, laundry, and waste systems can spike overnight. The crew adapts by shifting routines, staggering shower times, and tightening up cleaning schedules. Even the ship's laundry, with its industrial washers and dryers, runs in cycles to keep pace with a population that can double in days. This constant flux is by design. The Expeditionary Sea Base is not just a floating barracks. It is a flexible base, able to support new missions and teams at a moment's notice. The real vulnerability is not a single point of failure, but the cumulative strain of hundreds of people living, working, and sustaining themselves far from shore. The payoff is endurance, a ship that can remain on station for months, supporting everything from helicopter operations to humanitarian relief, all because its water and sanitation systems can flex with the mission. In this closed world, adaptability is the only luxury, and survival depends on the discipline of the crew and the strength of the systems that support them. Habitability is the heart of endurance at sea. These floating bases, combining civilian and Navy crews, can potentially support hundreds for months, turning routine meals and rest into operational strength. As global demands grow, the ability to sustain people, not just platforms, defines maritime power. Share your perspective below.